Here's the workout for March 19th, 2020. Here it is. So we have 3 rounds for time. Each round has 5 minutes, a 5-minute window. In that 5-minute window, we want you to do 20 calories on the rower, followed by 30 alternating dumbbell power snatches. It's gonna be 15 on each side. It should give you at least 2 minutes of rest. If it doesn't, you guys can scale the reps or the weight on the power snatch. If you guys have a 35-pound dumbbell for the ladies, that's going to be what we would consider as prescribed, and a 50-pound dumbbell for the fellas, that's also what we would be considering as prescribed. And we're going to go over a bunch of scaling options for you guys. So here we go. The first one is for the rower. So if you guys have been around CrossFit for a while, you know that most of the affiliates, when we first started, we didn't have rowers. So what we would do is we would do a sumo deadlift high pull instead. So depending on the weight that you have available to you, I would say you can increase the reps anywhere between 2 and 3, which means I'm gonna either do 40 sumo deadlift high pull or 60 sumo deadlift high pull. I think I did the math right. So I got a couple of things here. The first thing I have is just a light kettlebell. So for the sumo deadlift high pull, and feel free to send me your videos. I would be more than happy to do an analysis on them. There's a lot of things going on with the sumo deadlift high pull. It can also say a lot about how you row. So here's the deal with it. I'm gonna take my feet wide, so they're gonna be wider than my hips. If they're too wide, what will end up happening is my knees will go in. If that happens, just scooch them in. Next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down and grab my kettlebell. So I have my flat back on the side, my knees are pulled back pretty close. And if I drew a line through the handle of whatever I'm pulling, it should go right about in line with the knots of my shoes. So that's what I'm looking for. Next thing I'm gonna do, just like my rower, my deadlift, whatever I'm picking up, and my ass needs to come up at the same time. So if it didn't, that's what it would look like, or that's what it would look like. So I'm gonna stand up. That's the deadlift part of it. For the deadlift high pull part of it, after my hips open, I'm gonna pull with my arm. So it looks like this, and I'm gonna come right back down. A few common faults are gonna be if I pull too early. So if I pull too early, what'll happen is my elbows will bend, then my hips open up, and then I sort of have to drive this up. The other common fault is I don't lead with my elbows, and I end up in this kind of purring kitty position at the top. Looks like that. Yeah. So the other thing I have, hopefully you guys have some of this. If you don't, borrow it from your neighbor. You probably can't find it at your stores right now, but I have a cleaning product. Nothing else is gonna change. Anything with a handle or that I can grab onto, I can do this movement with. Setup is exactly the same, and nothing else changes. I'm just gonna count my reps. If I hit my 40 or my 60, I'm gonna move on. You can also do it for time. If you, 20 calories for most of us is gonna take a little over a minute, maybe a minute and a half, depending on how good you are. I know some of our guys can actually do that in less than a minute. But you can set a timer and you can move for about a minute. Next thing is gonna be our alternating dumbbell power snatch. Better? Next one's gonna be our alternating dumbbell power snatch. If you have a dumbbell, what it's gonna look like, should I move over that way? Or?
No, okay.
Is the dumbbell's gonna start on the ground? Is it the glare? I'm gonna use my hips to pull the dumbbell up, receive it in a power position, and then stand up with it. One modification is just a muscle snatch where my hips open up and I just drive straight up. A couple common faults on this one are the same that we'll see in that sumo deadlift high pull, where I bend my elbow a little bit too early. One of the things we're trying to get you to do with this particular lift, actually both of them, is to use your bigger muscles before you use your smaller muscles. Get a little bit more power, a little bit more efficiency. If I don't have that and I have a kettlebell, I can do a kettlebell snatch, kettlebell power snatch. It looks like this. One of the things I really like with the kettlebell is if you don't keep it close to you, which would be another fault if I let the stuff kind of go away from me, it's really hard to catch. So some weird things will happen. So from the side. You want to make sure that that kettlebell is staying really close to your body. If you don't have that, anything you can grab onto, you can do the same thing. I also have these bands that you can do. The nice thing about the bands is the resistance changes as I pull it, right? So with the kettlebell or the dumbbell, that one's always 10 pounds. This one's always 18, whether it's here or here. Can't tell you exactly the tension on this band, but it's a lot less here than it is here. So what I can do is I can do sort of a push press here to kind of simulate that. What I would do is I get it set up, abs super tight. I'm gonna dip straight down. I'm gonna use my hip drive and then press. Just like that. So I'm still getting a little hip drive, getting that overhead position. Any of the bands can work. Some of them are a little bit more tension, so you can just attach them to something a little bit higher so that you can get that overhead press. Post your times, post your scales, give us what you did for the workout. We'll talk to you soon.